during my single motherhood, the exhaustion, isolation, loneliness, all those around it was hard. The change I wanted to have for myself is to have myself back, to reclaim myself, my identity. Because there was a time I will stand in front of the mirror, I wouldn't recognize the person I was seeing. And I felt like I was slowly fading away, disappearing. I knew that I need to be my own rescue. And the sad thing is many of my fellow moms are not having this awareness. So that's why I thought I need to intervene to help them make this awareness to be able to help themselves. Because the truth is, we can support, we can guide, but the deep root of work need to come from themselves.
Hello and welcome. In this podcast, I have conversations with women who are building their businesses in their own way. We speak about the paths they've walked, the moments of meeting their edges, and the shifts that followed and allowed them to integrate feminine energetics into their work. These are honest conversations about building, leading, and creating from the inside out, meant to inspire women to unmute their voices and build in ways that are uniquely their own. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Mariame. She is the founder of Empower Moms, an Impact Award-winning coach and NLP master practitioner, and she is dedicated to supporting unseen and overwhelmed mothers worldwide. As a mother of 6, whoop whoop, her work is rooted in lived experiences, helping moms, especially those raising children with special needs, regulate their nervous system and reclaim their identity and lead with presence. Her work has evolved to also support immigrant professional mothers who are functioning but quietly disappearing, helping them return fully to themselves. Because when a mother comes home to herself, generations are transformed. Mom first, always. And welcome, Mariam. This last sentence was one that you shared with me, and it's a witness of how deeply you feel about your world and your work. And I love this, so thank you very much for sharing it with us. Welcome, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm looking forward to hear more about you, who you are. And so please take us into your world. Tell me, Mariam.
Thank you very much, Ghislaine, for this wonderful introduction and the warm welcoming. I really appreciate it. As you said in the introduction, I am a mother of 6. So my business is an extension of my motherhood, not separate from it.
Yes.
As we know, raising one child, 2, is difficult and time consuming, but also beautiful. And building this business around it, it evolved me in a way and extend my passion and empathy in those areas and helping other moms, especially those who are raising children with special needs, to put ourselves in their shoes.
Yes.
The amount of loneliness, isolation, and discrimination globally is something that made me think, what can we do in this area? As myself, from young child, from 6 years till almost 19, I was raised without my mom, not by choice, but I understand the silence pain behind that, not being understood or not have the vocabulary to express what's going on internally. And also during my single motherhood, the exhaustion, isolation, loneliness, all those around it was hard. And an extension of my professional career, when I was working with vulnerable adult and elderly people, some will say it's been years my daughter haven't visited me. I haven't seen my friend or this. And the isolation, I saw several stories that remind me of my own journey from my childhood. So I knew that this is an intervention that required. So that's why I am here.
I love
Thank you
this.
very much.
I love this. I hear and I feel also your deep passion. And so something I'm a little bit curious about, and I would love to hear a little bit more if you
Mm-hmm.
are open to share, is I hear in your words that you felt lonely as a mom. Can you? I'm not a mother, and so for me, I do not know that world of feeling lonely and alone as a mother. Can you share a little bit about in which aspects you feel alone and lonely and how that was in the daily life?
Great. Because in those days, my children, they were wonderful. But as there are some challenges as a mom you go through, sometimes you don't want to share it with your children, especially when they are very young. My oldest child was 8 to 10 years old to 12, 14. So in those moments that I was going through as a single mom after divorce, it was difficult. One of my child will come sometimes and said, "Mommy, what happened?" When I'm in bed relaxing. Even though I don't really have a headache, but what can I tell her to understand the reason why I was in my bedroom without sitting with them in the living room or maybe laying down, sometimes after a huge cry. So in those moments, I will say, I have a headache because I feel like that's something that I can tell them maybe to understand. That's why mommy's face is like this. Because I feel like I couldn't tell them I was crying because of this and that. So that loneliness, sometimes not knowing how to express the deep emotional pain, that was difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine, and I think it's beautiful that you didn't want to share this with your child, as it's not their responsibility to carry it. So I
Absolutely.
understand what you mean with the loneliness. Is that this period in your life? Is that also what ignited your desire to do something for your peers, for other mothers?
100%, because it's based on three fundamental factors. During my childhood, as I was born in Paris, from the age of 5 to Africa in one of the small country called the Gambia. So when I turned 6, my mom and two of my siblings returned to Paris. So I was there with my lovely grandmother called Ajafanta. So in those moments, I feel like sometimes I will see some other children with their mom hugging or sitting on their laps. I feel like I've outgrown on that because my mom wasn't with me. So I will see other wonderful adult aunties and grandmothers, but there are certain things at very young age, from 7, 8, I understood that I was limited in those areas. And I'm someone that love this hugging connection, as you can see my journey. So those experience was one area. And another area, when I was a single mother, as I just explained, and working with elderly people and vulnerable adults. So vulnerable adults, many of them experience this discrimination in our society, and elderly, many of them as well, but loneliness, exhaustion. So these are three fundamental factors why I am doing this. And I knew that is very much needed.
I love that
Mm-hmm.
the three fundaments of your passion actually, because how we talk about business and we talk about supporting other moms, but that's really grew from your passion, your personal experience, and your passion. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
lovely. And so I guess these moments of loneliness, those were the moments that really, what is the change that you wanted to make for yourself before bringing it to other moms? What was the change that you wanted for yourself?
The change I wanted to have for myself is to have myself back, to reclaim myself, my identity. Because there was a time I will stand in front of the mirror, I wouldn't recognize the person I was seeing. And I felt like I was slowly fading away, disappearing. That's why my work has now evolved into helping immigrant professional mothers. Because in those days, the experience I was facing, I understood from those early signs I need to intervene for myself, even though I don't have the support that I would really need. Because one night in the middle of sleeping, I woke up around 2 to 3 a.m. I felt this deep chest pain. What I felt in those moments that I was having a heart attack. So I couldn't move. I thought even a slight movement could have gone wrong. The first thing that came to my mind was, if something was happened to me, or if I was hospitalized, who will look after my children? My older one was 12, and I have 3 young, beautiful children. So that was one of the wake-up call. And another wake-up call was, I was walking on the road. A Jamaican man wearing this beautiful bonnet, colorful bonnet, was riding a bike and told me, "You are walking on the road." In those moments, I lost track of my reality. I didn't understood where I was. And those road, there was a bus who ran like between 4 to 5 minutes, and other cars, of course, but I really lost the current reality of how I was and where I was. So these are few of the many. And another experience was I nearly drowned inside my bathtub. So shortly after, when I heard one of the singer in America, the same happened to her, Whitney Houston. And even in that moment, I knew something could have gone wrong because I nearly fell asleep inside my bathtub while I was relaxing, having 2 slices of cucumber on my eyes just for a relaxation technique. But because I don't really sleep in those moments, I don't really have time for myself. I was looking after my children. I was going to work to put food on the table. So I was weak and I was exhausted. So these are few of the experience I said, no, I need to intervene because my children need me. So that's why I couldn't keep quiet. Otherwise, I consider myself a private person. I never thought in a million years that I will be doing what I'm doing today. Putting myself out there, no, that's never been something I even thought possible. But here I am.
Yeah, and I also really want to celebrate you because you are sharing about those moments that were frightening to you and that were like a wake up call and an edge. And I want to celebrate the fact that you were able to really grasp those moments and look them and look yourself actually straightforward in the mirror and really speak to yourself and change your life. I really
Thank
want
you.
to celebrate that because it's, I mean, I've also known those moments where and it takes a lot of courage to really be able to change that. So first of all, I want to celebrate you. Yay!
Thank you very much.
And so I'm curious, what changed? How did you manage to create this change for yourself from the falling asleep in the bathtub, walking in the middle of the road, a little bit lost, and having stranger needing to, to tell you, hey, lady, go walk on the sidewalk because this is dangerous. What were those things that you managed to do in order to get a grip back on the life that you wanted?
First, I was brutally honest. about my current reality. I said, I don't have to wait for someone to come and tell me that something is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, inside my world. I said, I am the first doctor for myself to know deeply what is going on. And then I take a pause before moving from where I am, before anything. I take a time after work, before I pick my children from school. I find a gym, women only gym. Not women only gym, but that day, the slot I go for, it was every Wednesday afternoon. Only female visited there, so I can be free. I will do those exercise, swimming, sauna, jacuzzi, which I love so much. So I reclaimed those moments. Then I started feeling happier, more alive. When I'm going to work, I will have my little bag around, having all my stuff in there, so that when I'm going to the gym. So I always look forward to that particular Wednesday. Then I knew that that's what was missing. I need to have time for myself. That doesn't mean abandoning my children. In fact, giving them more than they deserve, the love and connection, patience they deserve. Because in those moments when I don't sleep well, during the day, I don't have the patience I love to give to my children. So I started from there, and then I decided to take few years, 2 years, I went to Africa to pause, because I knew that was the only way in those moments that I can do that. I pause because when I was here, I was constantly working, constantly working. When I'm at home, I'm tired. Sometimes I will put the clothes in the washing machine, sleeping in the sofa, just to wait for their uniform to dry, and then I can go to bed while they are already in bed. So their childhood started to slip through my finger, just like mine once did. And that's something I never thought I will even see a blink of that experience coming. So this was the intervention I did, to go somewhere where we can reconnect, because I was present physically but emotionally disconnected from myself and from them. So I went to Africa and stayed for 2 years plus. But that's something that I will do the same thing again and again, because the place it has put me and the experience, it was amazing. So when I was there, I started booking to go to the sauna, hammam, Turkish hammam, every 6 weeks. Yeah. So I will book ahead. If I go today, after the session, whatever, body scrub and everything, I will book 6 weeks after. Because if I go home, I may not book the next session on time, something like that. So I keep them alive, even though the money was tight. But I know that's something that will help me and my children.
Yeah.
So when I come back, then it was another middle of difficulty. But I was able to continue forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something very important that you said. It's because I believe that's something that moms have a lot. Taking time for yourself and taking care of yourself does not mean abandoning your children.
Absolutely.
So is there something that made you realize that, or can you take us a little bit through that process? How was that for you? Because I believe moms will be very interested in how you managed to to embody that.
Yeah, absolutely. There was something that made me realize that, because going through countless of experience, me disappearing inside my own world, will eventually make my children lose me one day if I
Yeah.
continue on that path. So that was a huge realization. So I couldn't, one of the experience, because I know I shared three of the experience with you, but one of the experience, I dropped my children to school, 9 a.m. I went to this giant park, one of the park in London. So I went there having a coat that I wouldn't wear except during winter. But I was wearing this long coat, thick coat in May, June. I was still feeling cold. I couldn't believe it. So I was laying in the bench. A man passed by and say, "Hello, are you okay?" I say, "Yeah." I was laying, having my bag under my head. 2 hours later, he was going back and said, "Are you sure you're really okay?"
Oh.
Then I knew that no, that made me realize no, something is going on. That's why he told me that. So countless reasons I knew that I need to be my own rescue. And the sad thing is many of my fellow moms are not having this awareness. So that's why I thought I need to intervene to help them make this awareness to be able to help themselves. Because the truth is, we can support, we can guide, but the deep root of work need to come from themselves.
Yeah. And you also had this experience that was deeply anchored in you, that you didn't have your mother close to you for quite some years, and
Yes,
that really made you experience missing her. And so I believe this, as this was rooted in you, this is something that you really wanted to change with your own children. And you noticed that by being present all the time, but losing yourself, they were also losing you.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
very, very true.
yes.
During my childhood, I missed my mom in ways I couldn't imagine. But her mother, Ajafanta, a lovely, wonderful grandma, she passed away just a year ago. I kept telling her about this. I kept telling her, "Oh, I miss my mom. I wish my mom is here." Until one day, one of the extended family member told her, "You need to take Mariam to her mom, otherwise she will go crazy."
Oh,
Because I could see everything now. How I felt like I was in a different world from my mom. So there are things that she left with me. For example, her, we call it fano in our language, like the rapper African women
yeah.
have, yeah. And this like Barbie type, those are the things, or even her plates. I was very attached. I was clinging to them. So it was huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that with us, because I believe that it's for children really, and it's for moms also really powerful to see in the little details when their children are really desiring their presence and their attention. So I believe it's
Absolutely.
so important for you to share this.
Yeah.
So when I hear you talking about your life, I'm going to say before and after laying on that bench and realizing, oh, I'm not okay. I'm just going to use that as an example of that moment in time. And you shared a little bit about what you started to do differently, taking more care of yourself, taking more time, spending more time for yourself, and really nourishing yourself, the woman
Mm-hmm.
that you are. I see, because this is the way I talk about things. I see that there is much more feminine energetics, leaning more into going with the flow and allowing yourself your desires and the things that are going to make you feel good from the inside in order to be
Mm-hmm.
able to be more present. Is that something, how would you in your languaging, because I talk about, hey, we have to do, and this is the way we are supposed to do it, this is what is expected from us, and I need to work, I need to take care of my children, I need to be present, and then this moment in time that allowed you to switch, and then the more feminine energetics. How is that something that you would, how do you describe it for yourself?
I love to call it a me time. Sometimes I will have my children around me, but when I want to switch to go to the other room, I call it my VIP room. I do it. My children will be around because it's not, sometimes you would want to have time alone. To have that, if you can, that's perfect. Even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if you have someone trusted to take care of your children in those moments. But if you don't, especially many of my kids, they will be playing around in the same living room or bedroom, for example. I will start reconnecting with myself, to acknowledge myself, to acknowledge my feelings. So those moments, I call them a me time, to turn your attention inward. So there are many ways. Just if you work around those, you will find your perfect angle, how to have that experience for yourself to make you happier and alive.
And how do you bring that me time into building your business? How, so I know what you teach, but how do you do it?
Wow. I do it in many forms through nervous system regulation, because when you are everywhere, your minds are everywhere, not steady, you won't be able to do it. But the most important part is to stay calm, observe your thought, be present. Everything started from there. When you are able to stay present, you start noticing things that are going inside your world. I am not there for throwing more information. I call it information overload, because many of them are stress, overwhelmed, functioning, but quietly disappearing. So they don't need more information. And community is one of the important parts inside this work. Yeah.
Yes, this is something that you that I shared also in your introduction, Mama disappearing, and so I think that's really beautiful, because we underestimate as a society how what we bring to our children and the way we bring it to our children is so much more than what we tell them to do. So leading by example, and yeah, I think that's really important.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But I know for a fact I've been building for some years, and I'm a quite regulated. I'm not a mom, but I'm quite a regulated person, and I'm
Mhm.
quite, okay, well, what is happening? Okay, she's like breathe in, breathe out. I have my techniques to regulate my system, and I've been building since 2012, so I've been doing it for quite some years,
For
and
quite
still
some.
sometimes I'm
Mhm.
like. I need to do this. And then I realize, yeah, I saw your face when I,
Yeah.
yeah, like, no, no, you don't. And then I remind myself, no, because I'm the one that is guiding this experience of me having a business.
Mhm.
But still, we live in a world where we hear, if you want to reach so much women or people, you need to post so many times a day. You need to interact so many things. If you want to reach 30 women, you need to speak at least to 50 a day. How do you build and grow? And because I know you have a dream of really making an impact, many women. How do you not let yourself be taken away by how businesses have been built for the last 100 years?
Wow, that's huge. I understood where you are coming from. People, because I feel many people will rely on, for example, schedule. I need to post this. I realize that sometimes that will bring like this anxiety, stress. For example, I need to do this. But I remove that from there. Looking after children and going through some personal stuff, I will do it as time allows. I am fully committed to it. And I do it more than I thought I could ever post, for example. But I remove that I have to, or I should, because that brings so much, like at the end of the day, I feel like I will say, oh, no, I cannot do this. I said, but I will do it in my own way. The process may slow, but what I look, am I progressing? Not the speed. Because when I count on speed, I will abandon it. But I don't count on speed, just the progress. If I can post, for example, once a day or once every 2-3 days, I do that way. Until I started it 5 years ago. Some people may get themselves in a place where they want to, for example, 1 year after starting, or 2 years or 3. But I said my journey is different from other people. So I will do how I can manage it. Until last year, just a random young woman, a 19-year-old who was following me on Facebook, never knew about her, land in my messenger and said, can I explain to you something? Long text. My daughter was standing by and said, don't you reply? I said, yeah. I want to really understand before just say, oh, I'm sorry, this and that. But to go through it, to really answer her messages with intention, thoughtfully. So through that back and forth, at the end, she said, thank you for your kind words and coaching, because I am in a place where I'm thinking of committing suicide. So that's why maybe I'm even here, because from that day I committed to go higher and bigger globally. Even though what I was doing wasn't like someone who have maybe a schedule of posting 3 times a day. Everyone have your way of doing things. But the most important thing to say, for example, this is how Ghislaine was doing. And my world is different from Ghislaine's world. So that will be a problem. And many people abandon their passion and dream because of that. So based on this, how I just explained, took me further than I could ever imagine. Just my last article that was published with Global Woman magazine. Within 6 days, I've landed on 3 cover magazine, international magazine. And 6 more ongoing. So it was amazing the way of honoring how you can do things, how you are able to do things, rather than saying, this is Mr. A can do, or this is Mr. C can do, and emulate that.
Yeah. And it's so important what you are sharing, not to base your success on anybody else's life or expectation, and really just staying centered to how does your life look like, and
Absolutely.
what are the things that you want to reach. And I also hear, maybe you're not saying it like this, but what I feel in your words, in your attention, is you have very strong values on what you want to bring into the world. And you you are very unshakable in those.
Thank you.
Which is, yeah, which is really beautiful. And I believe this is something because of how society is organized, and the fact that everything needs to be quick, 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 quick. Next, next, next. Attention span is gone for the most people. And I hear you. No, this is me. This is what I'm building. This is what I'm creating. This is what I'm doing. And as you listened to that inner voice, I'm gonna say,
Mhm.
your article got published, and like plop 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 plop, all of a sudden all those things came from there and just allowed you to reach more women, more moms.
Absolutely. And behind that, I believe what we really need as mom, as woman, is the self-belief, self-trust,
Mm-hmm.
because many people are bumping from one to another if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have that belief and trust in yourself, not knowing what you want to do or what you are here to do. So that will allow you not knowing what to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, this happened to many people. Sometimes you won't have, because in this online space, there are things everywhere. Do
Mm-hmm.
this, don't do this. But you need to find your edge.
it's
Yeah,
it's more and more. It's like everybody is telling you what to do and how to do it, and why
absolutely.
this is better. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So, and know what to focus on, what you really want to do, and find your style. Then you will be able to carry on without the overwhelm and information overload.
exactly. I love this. This is beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. And so, for everybody listening and watching that is curious about Mariam, in the description, I will share all the links so you can connect with her. And those beautiful articles that you spoke about, do you share them also on your own socials, or should we put a link to
Yes.
them in the description, or can they find it when they go to your socials? How is the best way to find those articles?
Yeah, I will send it to you. You can
Exactly.
feel free and share it anywhere
Yes.
you want to.
Exactly. Let's share those. I will happily do that. Is there anything else, Mariam, that you would love to share with our listeners and watchers?
Yeah, what I want to share with you, listeners, thank you, first of all, for being here to get this far. That says a lot about you. And ask for support. Don't stay in silence in whatever difficulty you are going through. I wish what I knew now, I wouldn't experience that those experiences that happened to me. And many people are going through these experiences without realizing. But acknowledge yourself and celebrate yourself. Everything starts from within. Thank you very much.
I love this. Thank you for sharing, Mariam. I am looking forward to what is next for you, and in the future, we will have you back to share more about your adventures.
Thank you for having me
Bye.
here. Bye bye.
Bye bye.